Deconverted Man here. Hey, Captain Andy, what are you doing? Why are you telling somebody not to debate? Why is debate a bad thing to do? Oh, the audience wouldn't be right. That's not how a debate is. Who cares? Seriously. If you were right, which you're not, and I'll explain why in a moment, but if you were right, and if Sargon was able to get Steve to give him education on the subject of feminism, regardless of whether or not he wants to call it a debate, that would be valuable. And it doesn't matter who the audience is. What matters is we get information and knowledge about the subject at hand. That's a good thing. And Sargon already placed several obstacles in his own way. I'll just ask questions. That's it. I'm not gonna... So, all I want is for you to give answers. I'm gonna ask questions about the answers you give and see where that goes. In fact, that is a type of debate. It's called information seeking. The initial situation is that you need information. The participant's goal is to acquire or give information, and the goal of the dialogue is to exchange information. Basically, it's a classroom setting. The teacher has to be able to be subject to critical examination of their claims. The student needs to be able to ask questions. This is why it's sort of a debate. Because questions contain premises in them, and the teacher needs to be knowledgeable about that subject enough so that they can present the answers to the questions. It's absolutely a type of debate. But even if it wasn't, why tell someone to not do it when education is a positive thing to have? Especially for a subject that you seem to be on the side of. But at the end of the day, Steve won't debate Sargon of Akkad, or anybody, for that matter, about feminism. Ever. It won't happen. And I don't know that Steve has ever debated anybody about anything, really. Sure, his reading of different apologetic books is pretty decent, and I think that would give him a decent foundation from which to build a good argument on. But as far as I'm aware, he hasn't debated anybody, period, about anything. But he certainly won't about feminism. How do I say that with such a resounding sureness? Well, I might be wrong, because it's a special pleading on my special knowledge on my part. I don't know for sure, but I strongly suspect that this is the case because he blocked me on Facebook. I have a video where I film that whole thing. I'll put it in the description below. You might have missed it. But yeah, Steve blocked me from Facebook when I asked Steve to go after Teldar for making a video about Steve. And Steve could have just slammed Teldar if he actually had any proof or arguments on his side. But Steve didn't want to do that because MRAs are hate groups. And he never proved that either. And even if he thinks that's the case, then wouldn't it be even better to slam down on Teldar and annihilate him? I don't know. The same might be true for Sargon of Akkad. Now, you don't think that Sargon is educated on feminism, and you might be right. And you say it's not up to the other person to educate them. They have to educate themselves. That's incorrect. When the goal of the dialogue is to acquire information, that it is up to the presenter to give that information. And that's exactly the type of dialogue that Sargon was asking for. Whether or not you think it's a debate is irrelevant. Plus, it is a type of debate. Okay? Read a book, Captain Andy. Now, I really hope you haven't drunk the magic Kool-Aid that is feminism and lost your skepticism in regards to this particular subject. Too many people have. I am highly skeptical of feminists, MRAs, all the menace, whatever you want to call them. I'm skeptical of all of it. And until I get a logically coherent argument from one of the two sides, I'm going to continue to be skeptical of both. In the meantime, I'm a peopleist. I'm for people. I don't care what sex somebody is. I don't care what sex they want to be, or if they don't want to be any sex, or what gender they are, or what gender they are going to be, or what gender they do or don't do, or who they have sex with, or who they don't have sex with. I don't care about any of that, and neither should anyone else, but we don't live in that society yet. That's the sort of society I would like us to be in. And I would fight for any rights of any individual who isn't getting the same rights as anyone else is. And as far as I know, we've pretty much got equal rights across the board. Now, there are times that isn't put into practice. Businesses do find loopholes around the laws that we establish. Rather than saying, well, we're not going to hire you because we don't want a transgender person, they'll say, well, you don't match our company's profile or of what we want, or something obscure like that, which is obvious doublespeak, but nonetheless they get away with it because they're saying, well, there's other qualified applicants, maybe more qualified than you, or they'll say you're overqualified or underqualified, or you don't have enough experience yet. They'll make any excuse they can to not say what the real thing is. I saw my mom go through this, basically being told that she was overqualified for X, Y, and Z job, and the fact of the matter is they didn't want to hire her because she was older than the people they normally would hire. I knew and suspected that, and I think she did too. And she even called somebody out on it once, and they're like, oh no, that's not the reason, But nonetheless, that doesn't matter. What matters is she did eventually get a job. And it's harder to do that, but if you're persistent, you'll get it. But the law, even though it's there, doesn't really get enforced. You have to be able to prove that the company is denying you due to age or gender or what have you. And that's very hard to do. But nonetheless, current modern day feminism, I haven't heard a logically coherent argument for yet. Stop telling people not to debate, because debates are good. Whatever you think a debate really is, and whatever you think the goal of the debate should be, and whether you think the audience will or will not be a good audience for that debate is irrelevant. This is an information exchange dialogue that we're all having. This is a community of open ideas. Ideas of any sort can be examined, cross-examined, analyzed to death by anybody, anywhere, anytime. Welcome to the internet, where religion and fundamentalists come to die. And they hopefully emerge as skeptics. But Captain Andy, if you continue to drink that Kool-Aid, I'm afraid I'm going to have to revoke your skeptic membership and unsubscribe. Now, all you have to do is to change my mind is post a logically coherent argument for your side in the description, in the comments of this video. And then I'll be like, well, you got me. Alright, I'm on your side now. Or if you think it's so important that Sargon become educated about this, then you can make a video educating Sargon about this. If you feel that that's up to Sargon, great, fine, debate him and annihilate him in a debate about feminism. So if you know more than he does, just crush him with your words. Steve won't do it, so why don't you? Alright, that's all I wanted to say to you, Captain Andy. I hope that I get that logically coherent argument from you in the comments below. And if not, then I expect to see you debating Sargon pretty soon. And if you won't do either of those things, then my only conclusion would be that your ideas cannot withstand critical scrutiny. Thus, I must be skeptical of your conclusions.